Hello and welcome to the final Level Up Your Inner Power podcast for 2025. I'm Danielle Flood.
And I'm Juliet Martine. And it's the end of the year. Woo-hoo!
Yes, it
is. Yay. How are you feeling? What kind of a year has it been for you? Is it oh my God, thank God 2025 is over because I seriously want to wake up on January 1st and pretend this whole year never happened? Or are you feeling positive about your year that's been and ready to celebrate? And of course, this is the time of year for us to consider what we might want to do differently in the year ahead so that 2026 is not only a year you absolutely love, but it's the next chapter in your life that frees you in ways that you get the most out of life and step into being the person you want to become. If you want to level up your life in 2026, stick around because we're going to be sharing with you a super powerful, transformative life design process I have personally been using for the last 20 years or more. And it completely, I know without a doubt, it holds the power to totally transform your year ahead in ways that you can make 2026 your best year yet.
Oh my God. Can we just pause for 1 second, Juliet, and hit the giant celebration button?
Yay!
Because
fireworks.
You know what? You are here. Yeah, you've made it. Like, this is a time to celebrate. You've lived another year of highs, another year of lows. You've got lessons that you've learned. You've had plot twists, and you know what? You are still standing. And I want you to really hear that because at the end of the year, a lot of stuff comes up. And for some people, it's celebrations. And for others, it's heavy. This time of year can be lonely and it can be painful. It can be grief-filled. It can remind you of who's no longer here or what's ended and what didn't go to plan. So if this year has been emotionally brutal or financially stressful, mentally draining, or just one long uphill climb, we see you and you're not invisible and you are definitely not alone. And we are sending you the biggest hug through this microphone. And for some of you, the best thing you can do right now isn't celebrating. It's a massive exhale. Just breathe it all out. Oh, God.
It's been a tough year.
It's been a tough year for so many people, you know. Yeah. And sometimes just letting that big, long, messy, honest exhale out of everything you've been holding on to, just let it go and let it release. And when you do that, it may bring a bit of tears to your eyes. It might make you feel a little bit frustrated or angry or feel a little bit grief. Just let it all come out and let it all out. Holding everything inside just builds pressure and releasing it actually just frees you and frees the energy. So just give yourself permission to acknowledge the truth of the year that you've had exactly as it was. No pretending, no sugarcoating. We need to be really honest about it, you know, and if you can, go and look at yourself in the mirror and look into your own eyes. And in the mirror, you say to yourself, you know what? This year was really tough, but I made it. Or you might say something like, this year totally sucked. And thank God it's over. Like whatever your truth is, I want you just to really honor it because once we honor it and we're truthful and we're honest about it, we can then feel it and then release it and let it go, right?
Yeah, such a powerful thing that we can do to help ourselves let go of the year that's been. But, you know, for me, even if I've had a really awful year, I usually find there's always aspects of the year that have offered me gifts and opportunities to help me learn or grow in ways that I haven't realized at the time. And it's not until I take time to stop and review my year that's been that I start to become aware of what an incredible year it's been, even if it's gone completely sideways for me. And believe me, I have had some years that have gone completely sideways.
Yeah, totally. And I think what happens, Julia, is we forget the year that we've had, right? Like sometimes I can't even remember what happened yesterday, let alone what happened at the start of the year, you know? So
particularly if it's been a year where we've been just, holding on by our fingernails and just surviving. It's so easy to forget because, some years can be a real roller coaster and other years we can, cruise through a bit more. So in this episode, as we wrap up the year that's been for Danielle and I with the Level Up Your Inner Power podcast, we want to share with you a process I have been using for more than 20 years now, probably closer to 25 years. And it's a process that has really catapulted my life in ways beyond what I ever expected. And we're going to be sharing with you what I refer to as my director's meeting annual review. Because remember, you are the CEO, the chief energy boss and director of your own life. And every year, at the end of the year, clap my hands because I have to do it meticulously or,
yes, you do.
religiously. Yes. I personally love to do the process that we're going to share with you today on New Year's Eve, on December 31st, as a kind of a ritual and a gift to myself. I take time out to be on my own and to sit down with myself and have a director's meeting to review my life, to review the year that's been, to take stock of where I'm currently at, to look at what's worked for me over the year and what hasn't, and to set my intentions and energy in motion for the year ahead. And I can tell you from personal experience that for all the years that I've been doing this process, it has propelled my life forward in truly remarkable ways, unexpected ways. And I will also be honest, because for a while there, for some reason, I can't even remember why, I stopped doing my own process. And man, did that catch up with me? Did I notice the difference? Only in hindsight, when I realized my life wasn't moving forward as well as it could be. And the reason wasn't just because I'd stopped doing my director's meeting. It was actually because of the compounding effect of the way this process will work for you. So we want to just go straight into it and share with you the whole process now.
Yes.
Right here today. So you can use it in your life over this holiday period, whether that be on New Year's Eve or at the start of the new year. This is a process that, as you're listening, you can use it any time of year, in fact. So if you're listening to this particular episode weeks or months down the track, not a problem. It's never too late to put the process we're going to share with you today into practice. If you want to take charge, to create positive changes in your life and are ready to reap the rewards from using this process.
And I think a lot of you listening would be very happy to hear that. And Juliet, this process that you're about to share with us, is it something that people might like to create a bit of a ritual around? Because, I love rituals. I love finding a quiet space to sit and contemplate things. I've got the perfect setup at home. I go into my little pod that I have in my backyard. I light some candles. I put on some calm, reflective music, and I sit down with a cup of coffee or a cup of tea to really create a container where I can be honest with myself without anyone or everyone's energy all around me, crowding my space and my room. So is that something that, people that are listening could do?
Absolutely. Definitely. 100%. It is a beautiful ritual that you can do, create the space around it and give yourself this gift, because it is a real gift that you're giving to yourself to really empower yourself to create the life you want.
Yeah, and I think if you don't have that quiet space to go to at home, maybe find a nice spot in your local park or go on a bit of a bushwalk and just give yourself some time out, or maybe have a bath and just create a beautiful space for yourself and give yourself that time and space and calming environment to really reflect honestly on the year that has been.
Those are fantastic ideas, Danielle, all of them. Whatever works for you to really honour yourself and your life, because you have the power to create it the way you want. So the way the process works is I want you to get yourself a brand new journal book. Give yourself the gift of a new journal book. And I personally like it to be a big one, A4 size with a spiral binder. So this is my one that I've been using for a couple of years now. It's not fancy, but it's got blank pages so I can fill it up and draw all over it and do whatever I want with it. And being a spiral bound book, I can open it out to a flat double page. So this is your director's meeting book. And it's something you can write in and have lots of space for all your thoughts and ideas to flow. You don't want to scrimp on it being a tiny little notepad because there's no room for you to breathe in that space.
There really is. I hate running out of room when I'm like, I can't put everything down.
Yeah. And if you want to level up your life, I find it really helps to have more room for your director's meeting notes to land. So when you get yourself a beautiful big new journal book, then open it up to the first double page. And this is what I want you to do. We're going to give you step-by-step instructions. And I think we'll also give you some show notes in the description so that you can keep the notes and know how to do it. So open up to the double page. And on the left-hand side at the top of the page, I want you to write the heading, Annual Review, and then put the date just beside it. Really important so you can look back on it in time to come. And then underneath your heading, write, since January 1st, 2025 and now, semicolon. So that's the subheading for the whole of the page. It's reflecting on the year that has been. And then underneath that, I want you to divide the page into 3 equal sections going down the page. So not columns, but 3 sections from the top to the bottom. And the first section you're going to label work and finances, or business or career or vocation. Even if you're not currently working in a paid role, maybe you're a stay-at-home parent or you're retired or you've got lots of hobbies and non-work, non-paid related interests, that's absolutely fine. This first section is where we're going to review everything that's happened throughout the year that's been in relation to the area of your life where you invest your most productive energy. Okay. And once we've written whatever heading feels right for you, then close your eyes, take a few slow, deep breaths, and just sit and go through the year that's been from the beginning of the year right through to the end, and write down just in bullet points everything that's happened in your work and finances over the year, or whatever your heading is for this section. The highlights, bullet point the successes, the accomplishments, as well as perhaps the struggles and challenges that you've got through along the way and the lessons you've learned that relate to this aspect of your life, and bullet point it all down. And to start with, guaranteed this happens for me every single time I sit to do my director's review. To start with, I always feel like nothing much has happened for me this year.
Yeah, exactly the same thing for me. Yeah.
But I promise as you're listening, the more you look to see what has happened in your work or career or your finances or whatever the vocational productive time section of your life is, the more you look, the more things you will find that are worthy of writing down. And if you need more than the top third of the page, that's okay. Just keep bullet pointing everything down until you feel like you've really highlighted everything that's happened in this area of your life and you've exhausted the list. And I will find that I'm, cramming in bullet points here and here and here, and I'm squashing it in, and, I start off feeling like nothing's happened. And then by the time I've written everything down, it's like, oh my gosh, there is so much that has happened in this area of my life this year.
Yeah, I am the same. I remember when I first started doing this and I was like, I don't actually know. And then you're like, oh, shit, there's so much that happens. Like even now, if I think about the year I've had in terms of career and work and finances, let's just start it off. I started a new job. My finances dropped in that job. I took a bit of a pay cut. I invested in a business with you. I started a podcast with you. I completed all of my NLP training. And that's just all the big stuff, right? And if I took more time there to really think about everything else, there'd be so much that would come up. And I would be like, oh my God, I've actually lived a lot this year. Or, as you're listening, it could be things like, you've survived the most chaotic project of your life without quitting, or you finally asked for a pay rise, or you launched a side hustle that you've been putting off for years, or you quit a job because it's been draining the life out of you, or you managed to cope through a really difficult work situation without totally melting down and losing it. Like, there are all the big things, and then there's all those little things, and the more you sort of sit with it and sit in it, you'll just find things you'll start remembering, things just start popping up and popping up and popping up.
And don't shortchange yourself with time on this.
Yeah.
Each of these steps, really give yourself plenty of space. And maybe you even want to come back to it, like you move on to the next section and then you go, oh, hang on a minute, something else comes to mind.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Write it all down. This is your place to really record everything that's happened for you in the year that's been. So then the next step is to write a heading underneath that section, the second third of the page. And the title for this section is Family and Friends. And then you do exactly the same thing. You close your eyes, you think back across the year that's been, and you write down in bullet points everything that's happened for you in terms of your relationships with family and friends. So outside of work, what's been going on for you throughout the year, the highlights, the challenges, and the lessons that you've learned along the way.
Yeah, and I think about this area, sometimes you feel like, oh, nothing's really changed, it's all really stayed the same. But really so go into that heart space and really think about it and write it down, because it might be things like, I've become closer to my sister after years of barely talking to her, or I've let go of a friendship that no longer is aligned to who I am or what I need, and that was hard but necessary, or I've actually prioritized catching up with people instead of cancelling at the last minute. Or I've worked through a really tricky family situation with more calm than the past me could ever have. Like, they are all things that you have done throughout the year.
For me, this year has been a big one in this section of my life, because we've moved to a different area. We've moved to northern New South Wales. So just putting myself out there to meet new people. We've been through a really challenging year with some family issues around the care for my mum as she's aging.
Yeah.
And there's been challenges within the family dynamics and, bringing us all closer and onto the same page. So there, it doesn't all have to be fireworks. Some of it can be really little subtle things that are significant, that might be to do with you, stepping outside of your comfort zone, or stretching things a bit, or going through some challenges, or embracing parts of yourself that you didn't know were there when it comes to relationships. And then the third section, once you've completed the first two, you move on to the third section underneath. That, last but definitely not least, you label self and personal growth. So this is all about you. This is where you get to bullet point all the things that have happened for you on a personal level, all the things you've moved through in terms of your health, your well-being, your personal growth, your mental and emotional challenges and achievements, changes you've made for yourself in your lifestyle, personal goals that you've accomplished, lessons that you've learned along the way through challenges, obstacles, insights, and things that you've discovered about yourself. And it could even be simple things like reading a particular book to develop yourself in an area. It might be in spirituality, it might be in your career, it might be in your health and well-being, ways that you have invested in yourself or learnt or grown throughout the year that's been. Bullet point everything down. You will find gold here.
Yeah, this is where I find the most gold, Juliet, in this section, because you really do reflect on your growth and yourself for the whole year. Like, if I think about my year in this section, it's more about what I've done to protect my energy. So I've learned how to set boundaries without apologizing for them. I've healed I've healed some stuff that was still lingering within me that sort of held me back a bit. I have been really focused on my fitness because I've moved into my 50s years now and, everything's changing. So I've had to focus on my fitness rather than trying to focus on what I was before. So I've really learned to honor myself more this year, which is all the gold in this space. And I rest when I need to. Like, I really listen to what I need. There've been the little shifts that have had profound impact on my life this year. And it's those little things that you're doing for yourself, or it could be the big step. You may have taken a big step this year to get some therapy or to do some healing on some stuff that you've had to deal with, but you've held yourself back. And this is the year that you've stepped into it. This is the area where you uncover and you dot point everything down in that space.
And what I find from doing this first part of the process, going through each of these 3 sections from January 1 to now, whatever the now is for you, is that it always, 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 without fail, surprises me how much has gone on in my life, even if, in fact, especially if I think that I haven't accomplished much this year. The year has just sort of gone by. Because I don't know about you, Danielle, but I feel like time is going by faster and faster. And I remember probably 20 years saying that, and it's like every year has been exponentially faster. Is it just me? Please reassure me.
I think every year gets faster because I swear it was January about 3 months ago. So it absolutely gets faster. And someone said to me the other day, it's because you're getting older. And I'm like, no, it's because they're getting faster.
I think the pace of change in life is meaning that things go faster, and there's so much information overload and so much technology change. It's difficult to feel like time is the same. But when you go through this review, you will find all the things that you've forgotten about because there were things you weren't particularly focusing on at the time or when you were planning out your year ahead at the start of the year, but loads of things will have gone on for you during the year. And when you look at each of these 3 areas, you'll see where your energy has gone for the year. And that's what gives you such an incredible sense of satisfaction and fulfillment, that you haven't wasted your year. It's been a productive time. Maybe you've moved through incredible or intense challenges and unexpected periods in your life.
Yeah.
Things that you weren't thinking were going to happen. So maybe your life hasn't this year gone where you thought it would be, and therefore you were discounting the value of it. But actually, when you sit and bullet point everything that's happened, you find that there's a lot there that's worth celebrating, even if it's been from the perspective of I survived all of these things rather than, had an incredible year going the way I wanted. You can still appreciate everything that you've experienced throughout the year and learn from it.
Yeah.
So that's your left-hand page, first step in the process. And then on the right-hand page, as I've gone through the year, on the right-hand side, I like to reflect on the year that's been by asking myself a few key questions. First of all, what has worked for me this year that I want to continue doing in the year ahead? So really extrapolate the juice from the year that's been. What's worked for you? And then the second question, again on the right-hand side, what hasn't worked for me this year? And what do I want to stop doing in the year ahead? Because if we're not taking the learning from how things are working for us, then we're not getting the gold out of it that we can. And then the third question would be, what do I want to do differently? Or what do I want to start doing in the year ahead? So 3 questions to just give yourself that reflection and review time on the right-hand page.
Yeah, I love those questions. And to give you some examples of what some of the answers could be to those questions, if you're sort of sitting there listening going, I'm not actually too sure, here's just a couple of examples perhaps for you that perhaps might resonate with you. So for the first one, like what worked for me this year. It may be prioritizing morning walks or going to bed early or saying no to things that didn't align with you, or perhaps having honest conversations instead of avoiding them. So thinking along those things in terms of what worked for you this year. And then if we move into what hasn't worked for you this year, it could be things like overloading myself because future me will magically cope, right? Or saying yes to projects that you didn't actually want to do, or letting other people's opinions influence your decisions. Or perhaps it's trying to fix everything and everyone. You know, maybe they're the things that haven't worked for you. And if you move into what would you want to start to do differently or start? Perhaps it's, you know, as little as or big as protecting your energy instead of giving it away. I mean, we've spent the last few episodes talking about how we have to be our energy boss and protecting our energy. So maybe that's something that you want to start or perhaps do differently. Or it might be creating more space in your calendar for you. Or it could be letting yourself dream bigger without talking yourself out of it. Or it might just be simply asking for help sooner than later.
If I think about those three questions, what has worked for me this year? I'd say definitely some of the routine things that I've created in my life, like starting my day with prioritizing my health and getting to the gym every morning. And the other thing that's really worked for me this year has been having some conversations that I wouldn't have previously had the courage to have.
Yeah. That's huge.
Really huge. And in my relationship with Arno, it's really enabled us to flourish and thrive in ways that we wouldn't have gotten to experience otherwise. And then things that haven't worked for me has been probably the opposite of those things when I haven't had the structure. And what definitely hasn't worked for me is habits around technology. So that's something that when I look at what I want to do differently next year, I really want to establish new boundaries and habits around technology and the ways that it can really impact on my mental health and state of mind and protecting my energy there. So I think this is really a powerful page for you to give yourself plenty of time to lean into, because it really starts to feed into how you want to design and landscape the coming year. Do you have any things there that you want to share, Danielle, for you that haven't worked for you this year?
Yeah, I think for me, definitely what has worked well for me this year is prioritizing, same as you, Juliet, and it was my big focus this year is prioritizing my fitness. And it was big for me because I've had to let go of where I thought I was and just accept where I am right now because everything's changed. So that was sort of a big shift, and it's worked really well for me. And I know that if I don't prioritize that, my days just are not the same. So having that discipline to do that has really worked for me. What hasn't worked for me is probably I overload my plate. I say yes. I'm a yes girl. So that just doesn't work for me. And I need to take check of that. And that's something that I'll look at differently coming into the new year. So, creating a little bit more space for me, to have that time to breathe.
So important.
Yeah, it's really important. It's so important to reflect on those things. And, I used to beat myself up about, well, if I don't say yes, then I'm saying no. Like, because I overcommit, and it always ends up in this battle for me mentally, and it impacts on other people. So it doesn't mean that I'm doing something wrong. It's just I have to acknowledge that, and I need to start doing it a little bit differently. So they're probably the three things that I reflect on when I ask those questions. Yeah.
And as you're listening, I think you may surprise yourself as to what answers come, and it might really highlight things that previously you would have just, clocked into the new year, not having noticed any of it. And these things can accumulate. So just as I said at the beginning of this podcast, that the compounding effect of doing this directors meeting annual review is enormous. Similarly, the accumulation effect of not doing it and not reflecting on these things, it accumulates, and things that start off as little things in our life end up becoming bigger things because we're not stopping and pausing and reviewing and reflecting and going inwards to really identify what's happening for us.
Yeah, and that's a really important point, because if we don't take the time to reflect and review and really take that time out to set intentions for the new year, or whenever you do the review, you get stuck in the same cycle. And I find that that's when people have years that go by and nothing changes in their life and they become very miserable, or, they just don't know what's happened, because they feel like they're not in the driver's seat, but you're in the driver's seat, right? So you get to design the life that you want. And I think we forget that, like, this is our life and we're in control of it. So to reflect and to review is so, so important.
And that's a brilliant segue to the next part of the process.
Yes.
So right. I would say give yourself 2 hours for the process all up. And maybe you do it in 1 hour section and then have a break and then come back to it for the second part. So we've finished the first part. We've got that double page where we've reviewed the year that's been and we've taken the learning from it. So then what we want to do is open up to a new double page, and at the top of the page on the left-hand side, write a new heading that says between January 1st, or whenever you're doing this process, and December 31st, 2026, and then put a colon. And then again, divide the page into 3 sections going down the page with the same headings. At the top, you write the heading work and finances, or whatever heading you use to describe your productive energy time. And then the second section down the page, you write the heading family and friends. And then the third section, you write the heading self and personal growth. And then underneath each heading, you bullet point your intentions for the coming year ahead as to what you'd like to be experiencing and what you want to put your energy into. But, and this is the big thing I really want to highlight, because this is where I find a lot of people can go off in a direction that doesn't really serve them, because we can be so tempted to just start writing a shopping list a mile long with all the things we want to achieve in each of these areas of life.
Yes. Oh, my God, absolutely. Yes.
Often, more times than not, the list of things that we want to achieve is coming from our head that's telling us what we think we should want.
Yes.
Rather than allowing your soul to guide you. So I find what is way more helpful here, if I really want to go with the flow of what's calling me at that higher soul level and what my soul knows is best for me, is that I simply, again, take a moment to close my eyes, and you will have learnt this throughout the 23 episodes we've done for this year. It's about tuning into your heart by closing your eyes, taking a few slow, deep breaths and connecting in with your heart space, bringing your left hand up to touch your heart if that helps. And from this place, asking the question, what do I want to experience in this area of my life for the coming year ahead? And do this for each section. Ask the question. First, what is it that my heart is wanting me to experience in terms of my work and finances? Bullet point it out. And then what is it that my heart is wanting me to achieve in terms of my family and friends? Bullet point that out. And then thirdly, what is it that I want to achieve, my heart wants me to achieve in terms of myself, my health, my learning, my personal growth, and any other aspect of my life that matters for me. And when I set my intentions from my heart rather than my head, and I allow my inner guidance to drive the process rather than my head, oftentimes it surprises me what I write down. And it simplifies the process, because the head will have a shopping list of everything that, you think you should be achieving, your parents think you should be achieving, your partner thinks you should be achieving, society tells you should be achieving. Whereas when you connect in with yourself, your soul, and your heart, you get to what really matters for you, and it becomes much more simple.
When I sit and I connect into my heart space, it sparks feelings. It doesn't spark goals. It sparks how I want to feel. And some of the things that might come up might be, I want to feel more energized and inspired by what I do every day. It might be I want to create balance or more balance so work supports my life rather than the other way around. I want to deepen the relationships that matter most to me. I want to communicate more honestly and stop avoiding hard conversations. Or it may be I want to feel stronger in my body and calmer in my mind. Or I want to learn something new that absolutely lights my soul up. Or I want to trust myself more and doubt myself less. When you set intentions like this, you're not creating a to-do list. You're creating a vision that actually feels aligned, it feels doable, and it feels exciting. And it connects on such a different level because it's coming from your heart space, it's coming from your soul, and it's coming from within you without it being in your head.
And sometimes there'll be great big hairy audacious goals that come through.
Of course.
And what I would say always is we tend to overestimate what we can achieve in a year and underestimate what we can achieve in 10 years. So be mindful or heartful of what really matters and keep it simple rather than putting everything out there. So make sure that what you're bullet pointing in terms of what you want to experience and achieve over the coming year resonates with you at a level that it's both comfortable and stretching, but not so much of a stretch that it feels completely unrealistic for you. So once I've had my director's review meeting for the year and I've set my intentions for the coming year ahead, I then break it down and I start a fresh page with what I want to achieve between now and the end of the first month. So we're chunking it down. I start to process everything and make it really actionable, breaking down the bigger intentions into bite-sized goals in terms of what's realistically achievable for me over the coming month. So we go from the big picture of what we want to experience over the next 12 months or achieve or accomplish or step into or feel, to use what you've been talking about, Danielle. And then I go, okay, over the coming month, what can I do to move myself in that direction? And I break it down in terms of actions that I'm going to take in each of the 3 areas of my life to get things moving forward in the direction that I want to be moving for the year ahead, but just focusing on the next 4 weeks.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be anything too overwhelming, as you're saying, like just clear, doable things, actions that you can take that can start to build a bit of momentum. So it could be block out 2 hours a week for focused, distraction-free work on a project that you want to actually finish. It could just be as simple as that. Or have one honest conversation with your manager or your team about what you want to create or change in 2026. Or it could be plan one family dinner where phones stay off the table. Or it could be reaching out to someone that you miss, even if it feels a little bit vulnerable for you. If you think about your health, book that checkup appointment that you've been putting off and off. Or, if you want to learn and grow, choose one thing that you want to learn or explore this month and take the first step. Or, it might be buy the book that is relevant to what it is that you want to learn, or enroll in that course, or watch that intro video. Just those small steps that you can do. And when you start small, then it actually just builds the momentum of it.
Great examples. I love each of those. I could take each of them and put them in my diary.
Yeah.
So
yeah, me too.
So do that for each of the 3 areas. What's some action steps that I can take over the next month to move me forward so that I'm progressing or stepping into the direction that I want to be heading in all 3 areas of your life. For me, one of the things I'm going to action, I'm committing it here publicly in January, is blocking out time for beach walks with friends. I live 2 minutes away from the beach.
Oh my God, you're so close to the beach.
I know, it's literally at the end of my street.
It
and
is, yes.
I really want to commit to using the sauna at my gym at least twice every week. So that is out there. I've said it publicly. I have to follow through with that. It's totally doable, but it these are things I've been saying that for ages, but I haven't been actioning it. It just doesn't seem to happen unless I get focused on making it a priority. So I'm committing to that. And once, as you're listening, you've got clear on what you're going to action over the coming month. The key is to then put it in your diary.
Yeah.
All of the actions that you're taking, block them out somewhere in your diary so they actually happen.
Mm.
And then have a director's meeting with yourself at the end of the month. Do a monthly review. So all the process that we've been through, you can do it on a monthly basis. At the end of the month, schedule, put that in your diary, an end of month director's meeting with yourself. And I also find it incredibly helpful for me to schedule in a quarterly review as well. So I do monthly, and rather than waiting for the annual review, I do a quarterly review as well. So I can kind of pan out and see what's going on with the bigger picture at the end of each quarter to see, am I moving things? Are things shifting in the direction that I want them to be heading? Do I need to change my intentions for the year? Is my soul guiding me in a slightly different direction, or is everything moving? So I do a bit of a progress check at the end of each quarter. And having these monthly, quarterly, and annual directors meetings with myself focuses my energy on what's really important to me. It breaks it down into achievable action steps, and it keeps me really accountable and on track, because each month I come back to review, well, what's happened? What were my intentions that I set at the start of the month, and what's happened during the month, and what do I need to keep? What do I need to change? What do I need to review? It gives me an incredible sense of accomplishment, because no matter what, I'm moving forward in the direction I want to head, rather than allowing life to just happen to me in ways that I'm being tossed around on the ocean of life and reacting and responding to life, rather than actually having a sense of direction and ownership and taking responsibility for it. And of course, as challenges come up, as they inevitably do in life, this gives you a really powerful process you can use every month to review what's happening and to empower you in ways that you can more consciously respond to things rather than react, and realize that whatever the challenges are, they're helping you to learn and to grow and expand, rather than feeling like, oh, well, that month was just a waste of time. Nothing happened there. Using this process, you can see exactly where your time goes, exactly how you're learning and growing along the way, and it gives you an incredible sense of accomplishment as well as direction going forward.
Yeah, and if you think about it, this is how it works in the business world. We have monthly reviews, we have quarterly reviews, we have yearly reviews, we have half-year reviews. So take that into your personal life and do it for your own life and what you want to achieve. It's so important, and it makes such an impact on your life, and you can adjust. You don't just have to keep doing what you're doing. You can actually, at the end of each month, you do your review and you're like, oh, hang on, I'm way off course. Let's pull it back the other way.
Great point.
It is.
No business would sit there, no CEO of a company would sit there and go, oh, yeah,
and just keep going.
Just keep going and get tossed around in the business world, and don't worry about it. And then at the end of the year go, oh, yeah, nothing much happened. I think you'd get sacked.
Yeah, that's right.
You can be the board of your life, and you can be the CEO of your life, and we wear all the different hats. It really pays to sit down and have those meetings with yourself.
let's recap on what we've covered today so our listeners can walk away with absolute clarity and a real plan for designing their next chapter and what their next year looks like. So first and foremost, acknowledge your year honestly, whether it's been beautiful, whether it's been brutal, or somewhere in between. Just acknowledging what the year was like for you honestly. And then step 2 is make space to feel and release the year that was. No pretending, no minimizing, just really looking at it and feeling into it and releasing it. So as we said, find a space, whether it's in your home, having a little quiet space, or outside in nature, wherever you can have that time out for yourself to really just reflect, feel, and release whatever the year has brought up for you. And then the third step is to complete your director's meeting annual review. So those 3 areas of your life, the work and the finances and the careers, your friends and family, and self and personal growth, those 3 areas in your life. And then 4th, it's reviewing what worked and what didn't and what's ready to shift by asking those 3 questions of what worked for you, what didn't, and what's something that you're wanting to do differently or shift in the new year. And then there's setting heart-led intentions, not from pressure, but from your inner truth. So, taking that moment, taking a few deep breaths, close your eyes, checking into your heart space, and just really setting intentions from the heart. And then we go into booking the director's meeting at the end of every month, which we've just talked about. So booking them in at the end of every month, at the end of every quarter, so that you keep your energy aligned and you're moving with intention through your life and through the year. And honestly, I can tell you that this process is more than organizing your life. It's you stepping into power. It's you stepping into the power of your life. It's you choosing your power over patterns. It's you deciding to become the version of yourself you know that you're capable of being. So whether you're closing out 2025 with celebration or with relief or exhaustion or gratitude, we really want you to know that we are so incredibly proud of you. And we're grateful for you. And we're so excited to see who you become in 2026, aren't we, Juliet?
We truly are. From our heart to yours, from our soul to yours, we really celebrate you, however your year has been. And we are excited for the ways in which you can use all of the tools we've been sharing with you throughout the year, and particularly this director's annual review, to use it to really level up your inner power and level up your life. We are so excited at the potential within you, and we'd love to see you living your best year yet in 2026.
Yes, so thank you from the bottom of our heart for being part of this community, the Level Up Your Inner Power podcast, and for the energy throughout the year that's been. We're sending big love to you all. Take care of yourselves over the new year, and don't forget, you are the director of your own life. Bye for now.